All right, everybody, welcome to the Slay Goals interview series. Just giving some people a little bit of time
All
to
right, everybody, welcome to
log
the Slay
in.
Goals.
So, do me a favor as you're popping in, just go ahead and share this broadcast out. We are going to have a great interview. We have a great guest lined up, and I'm sure that you guys are going to enjoy our discussion. And we want you to tune in and chime in to the discussion as well. So, go ahead, come on in so we can get this chat started. All right, guys. So, hello again, and welcome to the Slay Goals interview series. My name is Felicia. If you are new to Seek God Slay Goals, I'm the founder of the community, and we are here for the Slay Goals interview series, which is really just a means to provide you all with some inspiration and encouragement as you are in your faith journey. When we hear the stories of other women who are like us, it gives us a boost. It gives us the encouragement that we need to continue on in our own personal journeys. And so that really is what the goal is for these interview series. It's just to share the stories of other amazing women of faith. If you are new to Seek God Slay Goals, you are more than welcome to join our Facebook group. We have a private community called the Seek God Slay Goals Movement. And we help Christian women of faith to enhance their spiritual, economic, emotional, and physical health. So that's really what we're focused on. Again, if you are interested, you can definitely feel free to join our Facebook community. And so I'm going to hop right in. Don't want to belabor the moment. If you pop in and you're watching, just drop a comment, say hi so we can say hi back to you so we can know you're here. But I am going to introduce our guest for today, and then we are going to hop right into the interview. So let me just share with you guys who we're going to be interviewing today. We're going to be talking to Miss Monique Shurray. And with a strong passion for media, a love for music, and a heart for ministry, Monique Shurray is living out her dreams. Originally hailing from Harlem, this Kansas City, Missouri native earned her Bachelor of Arts degree in Mass Communication at the University of Central Missouri. During her last year in college, she landed her first paid speaking gig, hosting, co-writing, and co-producing Gospel Revolutions, which is a Christian entertainment show that aired in the Kansas City area. Taking after her father, who was a notable radio personality, she has several years of on-air radio experience with stations such as 90.1 KKFI, 107.9 The Fountain, and Praise 95.3. She has interviewed notable celebrities, politicians, and community leaders on a local and national level. She has worked as a correspondent, working the red carpet at award shows and the media room. Additionally, she now does media coaching and training for entrepreneurs and coaches to help them develop their online presence through the power of video. In her spare time, Monique enjoys acting, singing, devouring a good Jamaican dish, and taking on new travel adventures with her husband. Living out her model of music media ministry, Monique Shurray is focused on staying in alignment with the purpose God has for her in every area of her life. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Miss Monique Shurray. How are you?
Wow, that was a lot, huh?
I
Maybe we
know.
could shorten
Listen, that
that.
is always everybody's reaction when I read their bio. They're like, "Wow,
Right.
that was
That
long."
was a lot.
So, what I always like to ask first, because I've read the bio, you
Mhm,
know, we see you on social media, people may just know of you, but outside of what we know of you or what we've read in your bio,
mhm.
who is Monique Shurray?
Really down to earth, loving, caring, very fun loving. Just have a heart and a passion for people. I really feel like I'm a philanthropist at heart. It's
Mm,
kind of like a double-edged sword though, because I love people, but sometimes I be like, you know what I mean? It's like, but I just really a philanthropist at heart, a supporter, a daughter, a wife, a sister, all those
mhm.
great things, and a lover of some curry chicken, honey. Give me some curry
Listen,
chicken, a curry chicken dish, and some
so
cocoa
good.
bread. Love me some Jamaican food.
Yes, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. I'm sitting here thinking like, should I make some curry chicken now for dinner?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so your motto, your life's motto
Mhm.
is music media ministry. How did this come to be your life's motto?
So, as you said before, I was going to school originally to college to become a news anchor. So that was
Mm,
my original goal, go to college and be on the 5 o'clock news. Okay. So
wow.
freshman year, sophomore year, when I got to my junior year, taking these classes and things like that, and I just really began to feel heavy. Reporting over the news, it was always something
Mm,
going on, something negative to report over. And I just really began to feel heavy. So I was just like, okay, well, I made a decision. I'm not doing this. But the problem was, what was I going to do because I was set to graduate?
right.
So maybe a short while later, I was approached by this young man. He had a Christian entertainment company, and he had an idea to produce like a music-based Christian entertainment show, and he needed a host, right?
Mm,
And so I'm like, yeah, great. So what God did was he took my passion for media, my love for music, my heart for ministry, and just combined it, merged it all into that one show, Gospel Revolutions. And that's where I interview people like Kirk Franklin and Lecrae and Ruben Studdard. It's just the ministry aspect, the music aspect, and the media aspect. That's what God does. He can just take something and formulate it just for you.
and I love that all of these things that you were passionate about kind of just merged and came together, because for some of
Mhm.
us it just doesn't work out that way. It's like we have a separate thing over here, separate thing over here, and it doesn't
Uh-huh.
always mesh well. So
Yeah.
I love that you said that it all came together. So now,
Mhm.
as you were, going through this process of trying to get in alignment with
Mhm.
God's purpose for your life, what did that process look like? And
Mm.
then how do you stay in alignment?
That's a good question. So you know what? Sometimes the process is hard. Okay, because here's the thing. What I say when we pray and we ask God to do something, well, Lord, is this in your will? At that point, we're saying, okay, God, you have the right to say yes or no.
Mm,
Okay. There's some things that I didn't even want to pray about just in the event that the Lord may say no. I
okay,
just don't
so
want to pray
true.
about it. You know what I mean? And so it can be difficult. And it's like a dying process. It's like, okay, I'm sacrificing what I want, what I think is best for what the Lord is saying is best. It looks like obedience. It looks
Mm,
like courage, when people don't really understand what you're doing you know and from the outside in, being a news anchor may have been like great for some people, but I knew what the Lord was saying. I knew I didn't want to do it. It didn't sit well with me. So
yeah.
it looks like being courageous. It looks like accepting the Lord's will. And you know what? It looks like coming out on the other side. Like, I'm sure glad I listened. I'm sure glad I did it. You know what I mean?
Right,
And a lot of times we can't really see that when we're in it, but
right.
we just trust God that He has something better for us on the other side, regardless of what He's asking us to sacrifice. So staying in alignment, it takes a lot of prayer and it takes a lot of obedience.
Prayer and obedience. And I love
Yes.
that you said sometimes you don't want to pray about things because there's that possibility that God
Right.
is gonna be like, nope, that's not it. And you just want that thing so bad. And
Hmm.
so statements like that and just sharing those moments, I think is important because sometimes we have those feelings as believers, like, is this okay that I'm feeling this? But yes,
Right.
we all have those moments. Like, we don't always 100% understand what God is doing or want to
Hmm.
follow what He's telling us to do. Like, sometimes
Hmm.
I'm like, I'm not ready to pray about this yet. I'm
Right.
not ready for the answer.
Hmm.
But like you said, once we actually submit and go through that process, when we come out on the other side, it's like,
Hmm.
okay, God, I see. And now you're strengthened to be obedient
Yes.
even in other areas as well.
I mean,
Um,
yeah. I mean, even, we go back to the Bible and look at, like, Gideon, we look at, Joseph, and Moses, who didn't want to be used because he felt like, he was stuttering, had a stuttering
right.
issue. But then, on the other side of that, what happened? So yeah, we just have to be courageous.
Yeah, and I love that. We could talk about obedience all day. We talked about Moses the other in another broadcast, and I always say, like, sometimes our obedience is not even about us. It's about the people that are attached to what's
Exactly.
going to happen because of your obedience. So I feel like that's a theme that's been throughout all of these interviews, is talking about obedience. So I don't know, maybe God is trying to get a message to us. We need to be
Yeah.
obedient in this season.
Mm-hmm.
So now, music, media, ministry, right?
Mm-hmm.
This term ministry, you hear it thrown around a lot.
Right.
So for you, what does it mean? Like, what does that actually mean, though? I think we say a lot of things that we're like, what does that even really mean? What
Right.
does it mean
What
to
is
be in
ministry?
ministry? What
Right.
does it mean?
Well, you know what? How I define ministry, is to serve. Is to serve others. It's really keeping the needs of the other person or the other group of people, keeping their needs in mind first. You know what I mean? And it's really having a servant attitude. We just can take the example of Jesus. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Serving the disciples, serving Judas. Okay, it's just keeping the needs of other people, letting that be first. You know what I mean? And so for me, that's what it means to be one definition. To serve and to have the heart and to be selfless.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's so good. That's so good. And going back to Jesus as the example, I just think in the online space, and we're going to talk about the online space in a second, that people correlate ministry with preaching or
Mhm.
having a platform, and really it's not that at all. It's like
Yeah.
what you said, it's serving, it's being selfless, it's putting the needs of other people first, and
Mhm.
it's really not even about, like, you don't even need to be seen when it comes to
Right.
ministry. It's
Mm-hmm.
about doing the work. So
Exactly.
I love that you said that. So now we talked about, or we kind of mentioned the online space and the online community, and
Mm-hmm.
we know, we're in this pandemic. Building an online presence has become almost a necessity, right?
Right.
So we know you do media coaching and training.
Mhm.
So share with us exactly what you do with that. What does that look like for you?
Okay. Well, the first step of my process is conquering confidence on camera. So it's just like that's the first thing you got to have, because in doing like some background research, sometimes people are intimidated because of the tech involved. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Even right now, this platform, people like, well, what is that? Well, how do I,
right.
it could be tech, it could be mindset. You know what I mean? Just kind of obsessing over things that you can't even control. It could be, well, my nerves, my body, and I don't know how to control those nerves. So the first thing that we do is conquer confidence on camera, because that's what you got to have first. And then secondly, there are some people that, so I work with like two different types of people. There's one entrepreneurial coach who really, they just want to be media ready. So I help them
Mm,
craft their story. I help them craft their message. We go through mock interviews. We talk about the talking points for their book or their products or their services, because they just want more media exposure and to be media ready. And the second type of entrepreneur, they want to do that plus, have their own show like what you're doing now. They want to build their own platform. They want to also do interviews. They may
mm.
want to host events too. So we go through all of that training with
Yeah,
them.
and I
Yeah.
didn't even realize, because you don't really see things from other people's perspectives a lot.
Hmm.
But just in interacting with people, I did not realize that so many people were afraid, quote unquote, of being on live stream, or they
Yes.
just didn't have that confidence. For me, it was, I don't want to say it was a natural thing, but it wasn't a big thing. It's like, okay,
Hmm.
something I have to do. But
Hmm.
some people definitely do struggle with that. So it was interesting when I read that you were a media coach. I was like, oh wow, that's really interesting. It's definitely something people need.
Hmm.
So now, we're talking about this online space. Everything is super saturated right now in the online
Correct.
space. Everybody is online. I know it's like, I know of literally like 5 live streams that's happening right now. And I'm like, are these gonna be cool when I get off so I can hop on? So
Yeah.
for especially for ministries and, people of faith, how can they craft their message to be seen in this saturated environment?
That's good. Well, here's the thing. I feel like it goes back to really knowing who you serve. We
Mm,
talk about, on the business side, having a niche, you know what I mean? Having a niche, but it's just really knowing your audience, really. So let's just say, for ministries, okay, well, what kind of ministry are we talking about? We're talking about helping women in ministry, maybe women in business in ministry. Are we talking about a men's ministry? Are we talking about um, widows? We have a ministry kind of focusing on widows, divorcees, addictions, you know what I mean? And so I feel like once we know who we really want to reach, and not to say that we're trying to intentionally leave people out, but once we know, okay, God has a purpose for me for this particular group of people, then we can start kind of assessing what they need. What do they need? Do they need what kind of emotional support they need? What is it that we can do to help them? So then we start crafting messages around what the needs are. But first, we have to know who we serve and what they need. And then we can start crafting those messages. And then those people will start being drawn to what we're saying.
yeah, that's good. So you said knowing who you're serving and then
Yes,
understanding their needs. And
yes.
I think sometimes we miss the mark because we try to serve everybody.
Right.
And I tell people you're not called to everybody, even just in life in general. Like, you're not called to
Right.
everybody, and your message is not really for everybody. So you have to get super specific
You do.
about who it is your message is for, like who your audience is, because even your language and how you speak to them is going to be different because they have the specific experiences that they'll understand through the message and through the
Right.
language. So who is that audience, like you said, and then what are their needs? I think a
Mhm.
lot of times we just put stuff out that we think will be good, and it's like they don't resonate with it because it's like, I don't really need that. You know what I mean?
Exactly, exactly. And so, what I tell people to do, people that I coach, is said, okay, we really need to know. Because even myself, with this camera confidence, I did a survey. Okay, and I said, hey, would you fill out this survey, just kind of in different Facebook groups, and the
Hmm.
things that came back, I was like, wow, I wouldn't have thought of it. And so that just gave me more, things to topics and things like that to teach on. So I tell people, okay, so if you do have a ministry, for example, for widows, have you really had some conversations with a widow? You know
Right.
what I mean? Have you really, took the time to see, well, what are their needs? What do they experience? You know what I mean? What feelings are they going through? You know what I mean? So that could be in the form of like one-on-one calls. That could be in the form of surveys. So I just tell people you have to know who you serve and their needs.
Hmm.
You got
And
to.
then Pastor Cohy Russell, she's commenting, hi, thank you for joining. She said, women mentoring, faith-based mentoring program. And so even with that, I think you could even identify even more specifically, like what type of women, what
Mhm.
type of mentor. I know it's faith-based, but I think the more specific you are with who you're speaking to, the clearer
Mhm.
they'll be able to receive the message.
Yes.
So I love that. She said, how did you get your survey out on Facebook?
What I did was I posted in a few Facebook groups, said, hey, and these groups were kind of where my ideal people are. Okay. So I posted it on Facebook in the groups and I said, hey, I created a survey about, being confident on camera. It's a quick survey. I would love it if you would just, take a few minutes to fill it out. I posted the link to it. It was through SurveyMonkey, which is, the free version. So, and they went and they filled it out. That was one way. Yeah,
Yep.
that was one way we
Be
did it.
be super simple. Sometimes we
Yeah.
overcomplicate things. So thanks for answering that question. So if you guys are just tuning in, we are in the middle of the Slay Goals interview series with Monique Shurray, and we've been talking about music ministry, and media.
Yeah.
She gave us some tips on how we can get our message through in this saturated online space. And so I want to shift gears just a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
um, because, even during this pandemic, there may be people, there's some people, we were talking earlier before we came on how, we felt like we were good and even just thriving. And I've had that conversation with a lot of people that they feel like they're thriving through this pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some people who may not have that experience, and they literally may be struggling, and they just may be on the brink of giving up on whatever it is they're doing, goals, family, career, business. So to that person who's just ready to give up, what would you say to them?
I would say to that person that's ready to give up is that you can win, but you have to stay in it long enough to see things change for you. And I understand there, like you said, there could be different things. It could be, a depression. It could be, well, I'm not where I thought I should be. Like this quarantine has really made a lot of things surface. Made a lot of things surface.
Listen.
It really has. And it's just like, hey, if you have to keep going to get to the other side, because there is the other side. I love that illustration, that footprints poem that we used to see in everybody's grandma's house, where
Right.
footprints in the sand, where Jesus was carrying you because you could no longer walk on your own. You know what I mean? So even if you need that help, of course the Lord is there, but even if you need like that support system, you know what I mean, just reach out. Somebody is there and willing to help you. I just hate to see people give up. You may have to pivot, you may have to shift, we may have to adjust. We've had to adjust during this quarantine. You know what I mean? You may have to revise your plan, but don't give up, because there is another side. You just have to keep that in mind. You got to keep the faith.
Absolutely. I love that. And like you said, if you stop, you'll never know what could have been,
Never
right? You'll
know.
never get to the other side. Like if you're in a race, if you walk off before you get to the finish line, you won't even know if you placed, or you
Right.
just don't know. And so I
Mm-hmm.
love that. Stick with it. And there's so many, like I know a lot of times we feel alone in our walks, but
Mm-hmm.
there are people out there who understand what it is that you're going through. And even if you
Right.
feel like there's not a human, we always have Jesus, right? We
Exactly.
can always be
What a
our
friend we have in Jesus.
right. And it's real.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's so real. And
Yeah.
it really takes you just kind of getting into his presence.
Mm-hmm.
And I know for me during this quarantine, it slowed me down.
Mm.
And not that it forced me to, but I was compelled to just be in his presence a little bit more.
That's
And
good.
in that, being in that presence, it was where you just find a different level of peace, and you find
Mm-hmm.
clarity for probably the things that you're trying to wreck your brain trying to figure out.
Right.
Um, it's just like get in his presence, and then he'll send people, if
Yeah.
you're open to it, he will definitely um, send people. And
Yeah.
so for you throughout your journey, from college, starting your career, starting a business, being married,
Mm-hmm.
what role has faith played in your journey throughout all of that?
Oh man, it has just grown me up.
Mm,
Really being a Christian, and some people have their different views on Christianity, but really, it's not for the faint at heart. We like to think of we just Jesus being the lamb, but he's the lion. He's the lion and the lamb. Okay, it grows you up. He does require you to be obedient to his word. He does require, you to step out on faith. We would love to be in the comfort of our boat, but that's not, he's not in the boat. You know what I mean? And so faith it just plays such a big role. I mean, I just wouldn't be who I am today.
mm,
It teaches us how to love others. It teaches us how to really look at ourselves, because sometimes we kind of do our self-examination through the word of God. We're like, oh man, I got some work to do, or he got some
Yeah.
work to do. I have to allow him
Right.
to work on me. You know what I mean? So, but on the other side of that, again, once you get to the other side, you stick with it, you come out better, you come out stronger, you come out, humble, you come out loving, you come out forgiving, you just come out the woman or the man of God that God intends for you to be. So
Absolutely.
we're all still a work in progress.
Right. Definitely. And I'm
Mhm.
a work in progress too. I actually said to myself, that's funny you said it. I said to myself today, I said, I'm the problem. Like I just had to admit it. I said, I'm the problem. And
Mhm.
so yeah, that's what this faith journey really will do. It'll put a mirror up to you,
Oh my.
and sometimes you won't like what you see. God will show you parts of you, and you have to just accept I'm the
Right.
problem. And then, okay, God, help me to be who it is that you created me to be. And that's so real. I love that. I've never heard anybody say faith has grown me up, but it,
Mhm.
it definitely has. It causes you to have courage. It causes you to do things that wasn't a part of your plan.
Right.
It causes you to make decisions that are hard and tough,
Mhm. Mhm.
man. And I think that there's also this misconception that okay, once you accept Christ and you're a Christian, okay, life is going to be just super easy and just
Mhm.
all fun. And I mean, that is so far from the truth. Not saying
Right.
that we won't see God work and we won't have those moments, but it really is dying to yourself daily. I don't
Yes.
know if that was this week. I posted that in our group. It's about dying to yourself daily.
Yeah.
And death is not fun.
Right. You like, hold on,
It's
no.
not fun. But like you said, if we go through the process and we get to the other side, if we don't give up, we will see that his way was the best way all along. We'll
Mhm.
see that he had a perfect plan, that it just worked out better.
Right. We will reap the rewards of it.
Yes,
We will
and it's
reap the
not in
rewards.
vain. That
It's
is not
not
in vain.
in vain. And one thing you said about an alignment, talking about staying in alignment, you know what I mean? That's another thing too, get in alignment, but then staying there.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's just prayer, just really putting God's will first, but knowing that He has your best interest at heart. Period. Period.
Period. That's it.
That's
Period.
it.
And I mean, it's so easy to get out of alignment. Like it
Yes,
is.
it really is.
It's so easy. Like the minute one day you just forget, not that you forget to pray, but you're busy and you don't pray that day, and then you find yourself cussing somebody out because you didn't have your moment with God that morning. Like it's
Uh-huh.
so easy to get out of alignment, and then just you start to rely on yourself more than relying on God. And so I just think that's why it's so important to have a lifestyle of prayer
That's good.
before we do anything else, because it'll really just keep us in alignment,
Hmm.
um, just with His will for our lives and just not our own personal will.
Yeah.
You have to go. Thank you for tuning in. Talk to
Yes.
you soon. So, let me see. Before we wrap it up, I always like to ask people, what books are they reading, or what books would you recommend others to read?
Ooh. So one book that I absolutely love is Joyce Meyer. It was Change Your Words, Change Your Life. And that book really just kind of helped me to, in there, she says, think about what you're thinking about. Because sometimes our minds just kind of go, 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 and that book, it had made me mentally stronger. That
Mm,
book, Change Your Words, Change Your Life by Joyce Meyer. There's another book by Divine Franklin, who's Megan Good's husband. And he wrote this book way before they got married. It's called Produced by Faith. And
that's a
I was
great
just,
book.
huh?
It said that's a great book.
Have you read it? Have you
I
seen it?
have. Yep.
Yes, it's a great book. I was maybe at Barnes and Nobles years ago with my mom, and I just happened to stumble across the book. I just like, you know what? I'm gonna give this. I had never heard of him before, but I love that book.
Mm,
His faith, being in Hollywood,
mm,
being around Hollywood stuff, and just
Right.
keeping his faith, and just how God just kind of kept showing up in his life. I love that book. And then right now I'm reading Rich Dad Poor Dad. I know I'm probably kind of late on that because that book has been around for a long time, but I'm just now getting around to reading it. I have enjoyed it so far.
Yeah, those are all great, great recommendations.
Mhm.
And the Joyce Meyer book about your thoughts, man, it's so like that's such a real thing, man. What we
Yeah.
think, it really affects our life because our
Mhm.
thoughts, they ultimately, become your words, and life and death is in the power of the tongue. And so
That's
literally
right.
what you're thinking, it can change the course of your life. And so a lot of times we think things that aren't really positive, or we're thinking things that aren't even of God, and then
Mhm.
we start to manifest those things. It's We have to really capture our thoughts, and
Yes.
think about what you're thinking about. That is so
Yes.
real. So
Think about what you're thinking about. And then she
yeah.
did like affirmations, and they were all based on the word of God. When we talk about like mindset stuff, that's almost like the toughest, kind of
Mhm.
part to kind of change, but it can
It
be
can.
changed,
Yep.
So yeah, it's really good. It's a really good book.
Absolutely. So guys, make sure you go out and get those books. Now, what do you
Mhm.
have coming up? As far as your media coaching or anything else that you have going on?
Well, I do have a free gift. It's called 15 Tools to Create Quality Video Content. So I have that. And then, so what's coming up is the program, the media coaching program, just really for the entrepreneurs and the coaches that want to be media ready, for
Yeah.
their books or their services or their products. That's rolling out very in June.
Awesome. So how can people get that freebie? Because we're in this online world now, and people
Okay.
need it. So how can people get the freebie?
It's moniqueshurray.com/video. And if I
Okay,
can put it
perfect.
in the comments, matter of fact, I think I could put it right here. Yep, I'm gonna drop it in here in the comments. Yep, it's
Okay, perfect.
moniqueshurray.com/video. Yep.
Guys, listen, online is not going anywhere. So you want to make sure that you have all the necessary tools, make sure that you are ready
Yes.
for when you come online, and just stay connected. So your website is Monique Shurray. How can people connect with you, on social media as well?
Everything is at Monique Shurray.
See, that's good branding right there. Y'all take notes. Everywhere, just Monique Shurray. So
Mhm.
that was awesome. Thank you for sharing, the tips about the online space for, people in ministry. If you have any final parting words, what would you leave with the people?
To stay encouraged. This is a crazy, weird time. And again, like I understand maybe the person is like, hey, I'm not, where I want to be right now. But
Mhm.
it's like not too late to start. That was the affirmation that I put in my group, Moguls in Media Movement. It's not too late to start. It's really not. It's really not. And I had spoken with a woman who she wanted to start doing video content, but she felt like with her age being 55 plus, who would listen to her? And I was
Mhm.
like, you know what? Your age may be the thing that draws people.
Very true.
Work on that. Your experience. You can say, hey, I'm experienced in XYZ.
Yep.
Life after 55 can be great. Say, "Okay, you need to run with this thing.
Okay.
So it's not too late to start. Be courageous and just do not quit. That's my
Love
final
it.
word.
Love it. Love it. And I'm
And
not
be
even gonna say
kind.
anything. Oh, that's a good one. Be kind.
Be
Be
kind.
kind, y'all. Just be nice. It's just good to be nice.
Yes.
So thank you so much for coming on
Thank
and
you for having
sharing
me.
with us. Definitely drop some great information and some wisdom, guys. We will be back on Friday for another Slay Goals interview, and
Mhm.
then next week, Monday and Friday, we have other interviews as well. So thank you all for tuning in. Again, if you want to join our Facebook group, it's called the Seek God Slay Goals Movement. And make sure you guys connect with Monique, Monique Shurray, everywhere, website, Facebook, Instagram. Stay connected, get connected. This is the perfect time to connect with people
Mhm.
um, during this pandemic, and collaborate, make some things happen, because it's not too late to start. Again, thank you all for tuning in. I love you all, and I will see you on Friday. Bye bye.